If a restaurant orders food, when it comes in, they automatically process it. So they'll clean the meat and freeze it if they need to freeze it, or put it where it needs to go and wash the vegetables. And so that's what we do in our home. So we'll unpackage everything and put our snacks away. And then we take the grapes off of the stems and rinse them and put them in a container. And in that way, it's grab and go. So my kids, whenever it is time for a snack, my kids can just go to the container, get out a scoop, and they're good to go. They're not having to pull things off or mom, I need help with this. So it's all about convenience, for
So
me.
putting a little bit of time in the preparation or, making sure the food is available and ready to
Yes.
eat saves time every time the kids want a snack of grapes or every
Yes.
time the kids want some more strawberries or whatever that is.
Welcome to Reframe and Reclaim. We are Courtney Huckabee, a psychotherapist,
and Jen Harris, an interior designer
who have teamed up to reflect, challenge, and reframe your mindset in relationship with your personal belongings. Find the reframe.
Start your reclaim.
Hi, welcome back to Reframe and Reclaim. I am Courtney Huckabee.
And I'm Jen Harris.
And today we are talking about reframing and reclaiming your time by meal prep. So, meal prep is something that I used to do when I was younger. Now it's a little more challenging with work and childcare and kid and extracurricular activities. But Jen, you actually have mastered this, and I want to know more.
I think mastered is a strong word, but doing pretty good. I think it's more.
I think that is doing wonderfully. I want to get in on this. Tell me how.
Well, so it's been a lot of trial and error in our home. And, we talk about a lot being flexible as your life transitions and what that looks like. So it's been a lot of just trial and error and seeing what works for our family.
Wonderful.
But for us, it really starts with using what we have before we make a new grocery run. So
Okay.
it used to be where I would plan for, all 7 dinners of the week and lunches. But the reality was we were eating out 1 to 2 nights a week, so food would go bad, right? Or things would get stuck at the back of the cabinet and I wouldn't be able to find it and it would expire. So it's really taking inventory before I go out to say, what do I have and what can I make meals out of? We also have a running grocery list. Ours is digital between my husband and I. So we can both add to our grocery list what we're low on, what we need. And that's been a really great communication tool. So that way, when we do go to the store, we're not forgetting that one-off item, because it's always like, oh, I wrote the bananas down, but I forgot to get them. There's always.
I will say, me and my husband have mastered the shared grocery list.
Yes.
And my husband's actually better at it than I am. I have to give him props. Like, he's like, oh, I went to the fridge to look for this. We don't have it. I'm going to put it on this right now.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm kind of like, what do I want to eat this week? Do we have it?
Yes.
So we kind of balance each other yin and yang with the grocery list. But I like the idea of kind of like the reclaim, taking inventory before we go and get more food. Because I know for me, I tend to have expired food that I don't remember or gets hidden or lost behind other items. So what's the process that you take in taking that inventory?
I buy a lot less.
Okay.
I will say, and then just going through and checking. So I open my fridge. A lot of times I'll do this right on trash day. So as I'm cleaning out my fridge, and yes,
I love that.
Yes.
You're cleaning out the fridge for it to go in the trash if it's expired or
Yes.
unusable.
But then I'm creating that habit, right? Like I'm tagging it on to another activity. So as I'm cleaning it out, I'm taking inventory of like, you know what? I made mashed potatoes last week, but we didn't eat all of them. Did I make too many? Or did we end up eating out? So just making a mental note, why wasn't the food eaten by the time it needed to be? Emptying out, and then the fridge is clean and clear, and I can see, oh, I'm low on this. I need more food of this. And then it gives me a really clear picture.
You're doing the whole 7 steps there. We're reflecting.
Yes.
You're cleaning it out.
Evaluating it.
Evaluating what's in there. And then maybe what's already in there, what can I use here
Mm-hmm.
and what do I need to make a meal?
Yes.
Ah, Reclaim works even in the fridge.
That's right. And something else I've transitioned to lately is I've been doing more freezer meals than fresh meals because, again, I was noticing, oh, I'm picking up food or I
Mhm.
just don't have
Mhm.
time. And instead of something going bad in the fridge, I know it's frozen, so it will keep longer.
I have done that. So we eat a lot of fruit in our house with
Hmm.
a 5-year-old, and so strawberries, bananas, blueberries. They don't always get eaten within the week because they do go bad pretty quickly. They're fresh foods. So I have actually, at the end of the week, the school week for him, as we're
Hmm.
taking him for childcare, I will go and rinse all the things, chop up what's still good, and put it in the freezer for my smoothies
Yes.
or if we're making muffins or banana bread, but
Nice.
it'll stay frozen and usable.
Yes.
That's one thing I have done is reclaiming those fruits in the fridge because
I like it.
berries are expensive.
They are.
Berries
And
are
they
very
can go
expensive.
bad so
They
quickly.
can. They can. Yeah. So I like that idea of like a freezer meal. And
Hmm.
now I know this is something new you've been doing. How are you liking the
I am liking it. I'll get a little bit more into it later because there are some steps to kind of get there
freezer
and
meals?
to realize that freezer meals are useful for me.
Okay.
So before we get to that, so I will have my grocery list. I take inventory of what I need, and then for me, it's really important to do a drive up order for all the non-perishable things or like the frozen foods that I need. So if I do a pickup order and I don't pay the fees, find places that will do
We
it for
don't like
free.
these.
I do a drive up pickup order, and then I'm spending less time in the store looking for things,
Reclaiming your time.
reclaiming my time, and then I'm not impulse shopping as much. I will go inside for produce and I will go inside for meat. So I do want to pick out those two things, but it keeps me contained to the front of the store, to the produce section, and then I'm out. I'm not wandering all the way through and finding all the things that I don't really need.
Which allows
So,
you to reclaim your
yes,
finances.
yes.
We're reclaiming
So,
time and money by doing curbside orders, except for the produce and the meats.
yes,
Okay,
that's
I
what I
got
do.
you.
The other thing I try to do is try out like one new meal every couple weeks. So my kids are pretty picky about what they eat, as most children are. But there's times when my husband will just make something out of the blue and they really like it. Like we made shrimp one day and they're like, "This is amazing." So then it's like, okay, we have a new meal in rotation. So it doesn't always go well, but I think trying to sprinkle in
I think that's a good
1 to 2
idea.
new meals a month, it works out really well for our
Because if you're doing like, I'm going to pre plan a whole lot of shrimp because I bulk ordered shrimp or whatever, or the shrimp's going bad.
family.
And
Right.
then you're like, but my kids won't eat it. You will be eating shrimp
Yeah.
4 days in a row. Is
Yes.
that something you're willing to do?
Right. And there's no wrong answer. It's just a choice you have to make. The other thing I do to help with the expired food and just again having the inventory at top of mind is as soon as the food comes in, you go ahead and process it. So I've heard this talked about like if you go to a restaurant, if a
Mm-hmm.
restaurant orders food, when it comes in, they automatically process it. So they'll clean the meat and freeze it if they need to freeze it or put it where it needs to go and wash the vegetables. And so that's what we do in our home. So we'll unpackage everything and put our snacks away. And then we take the grapes off of the stems and rinse them and put them in a container. And then that way it's grab and go. So my kids, whenever it is time for a snack, my kids can just go to the container, get out a scoop, and they're good to go. They're not having to pull things off or mom, I need help with this. So it's all about convenience, for
So
me.
putting a little bit of time in the preparation or, making sure the food is available and ready to
Yes.
eat saves time every time the kids want a snack of grapes or every
Yes.
time the kids want some more strawberries or whatever that is.
And then taking it out of like the bigger box, sometimes my kids still have issues, or let's be honest, they just rip it, right? And then the box that had the little tab to close it back up is no
Doesn't
longer
close.
useful, right? So a lot of times we just take stuff out of the main packaging and put it into other
And
containers.
I've heard, and I have not tested this out, but it seems possible that the packaging they give it to you in the store isn't the most appropriate packaging to actually keep the freshness of that.
Yes.
So whether it's the bag of grapes or the
Hmm.
container of blueberries, putting it in a different container and sealing it can actually help it last
Yes,
longer.
for sure. And then even things like, if you have juice boxes, taking those out of the containers so it's easy to grab out of the fridge. If it's vegetables, pre-packaging some like carrots, so it's a grab and go for a snack instead of having the big bag that they tend to topple over and spill.
Mm-hmm.
So doing some prep work like that makes it so there's easy snack stations available. Because in our family, we're trying to get away from the processed snacks and really focus more on fresh produce and
Mm-hmm.
fresh veggies. And so doing this little step has really helped that because just like, adults, we mentioned before, convenience is king.
Convenience.
And so if I have a choice between having to go, pull off this strawberry or peel this orange or do this and that, or just grab a bar, take off the wrapper and eat, I'm going to grab
Mm-hmm.
the bar.
Well, and I have heard a lot too, like, having foods readily available. Like, it's easy
Yes.
to get a granola bar that's in a package,
Mhm.
or if I already have chopped up carrots and some dipping, I might just make that decision if it's already ready for me. But
Yes.
there's a little bit of time in prepping that in the beginning, but that helps you not get the
Right.
mom, or I don't have time to cut up that strawberry, so,
Mhm.
grab something else. I love that idea.
And I do get my kids involved. So they now know to take the fruit off and rinse it, and they'll put it in the container. We also go ahead and string cheese is big. So we'll take that out of the main wrapper. Go ahead and peel off the perforated strips.
So they're
So that way they're
individuals.
individual and they can just grab that and go. So again, it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but it really does make it convenient in the future. Your
In your
future self
home.
will thank you.
It's convenient in your home, so you're not
Yes.
grabbing food out because you already have it prepared and ready for
Yes.
cooking or snacking.
And then I always make sure I have some sort of quick meal. So usually in the freezer, but it might be like the frozen chicken nuggets or meatballs or pizza, just so if I am in a last minute, need to pull something together quickly. But what you two alluded to earlier is this past spring, my mother and I have started doing the big bulk like freezer meals. So
I want in on it.
I mean, I've been preached about freezer meals and oh, this saves you so much time, and I've heard it all, and I was very hesitant to try it. It probably took me 5 years to even be like, oh, okay, we'll try this out because I'm one that I forget to put things out the night before to thaw. I That's the main thing, really, is the thawing, right? Like even pulling meat out to like put it in the water and get it unfrozen. Like whenever I'm in meal mode, it's usually like I've got 30 minutes to an hour. I gotta go. Let's do this and be done with it. But looking at inflation, that was really the big motivator, and how expensive things were getting, and how much I was eating out because I was just too tired. I didn't want to cook or
Mm-hmm.
whatever excuse I was telling myself that day. I was really trying to cut our costs. And so was my mother. And so we were trying to think of ways we could save. So she did have a Costco, or she does have a Costco membership. So we were able to use that. And we would buy bulk items of things and then be able to break it down and make, anywhere from 6 to 8 different meals and then make 3 batches of each meal. So we're talking 18 to 24 meals, and that would be usually about $350. So the things we could buy in bulk, we would, but then we would also do a separate run to the grocery store if it's like we're only making one meal with like pork, or we need cost wise, it's about the same for pasta sauce at both locations, but this gives me smaller amounts, so I'm not going to have a whole bunch left over.
And it sounds like
So
that bulk price you talked about is actually split between you and your mom.
correct,
And it makes 3 different family portion meals.
correct, of each
Which,
meal.
and how many meals did that make usually?
So that was anywhere from like if we did 6, it'd be 18, and then if we did 8 different meals, it'd be 24. So 3 of each.
18 meals for $3.50.
For 3, so it comes out to about $15 a meal for a family of 4.
That's
I mean,
amazing.
right?
Let me in. Let me in.
Come on in. Yeah, I know. We need to set up a time to do it all, but and it is a bit of work, and so I do recommend doing it with someone, because it's a lot of things to chop. If you can find things pre-cut and frozen, usually it's worth it to pay the little bit extra, so you're not just chopping meat for 2 hours, which we have done because we do a lot of chicken. Um, but so having that all buying in bulk and then having those things buying things pre-cut where you can. There are a ton of recipes online for different freezer meals. You can buy some from people and they will send you like a grocery list already of like, this is what you need to buy.
Love that.
They have them for different dietary needs. Some people have them like for Costco specifically. If this is where you shop, this is the brand to get. So it's very adaptable now. Lots of people are doing it and it's really easy to find resources.
And I love the idea of freezing it because you know what? Whenever I go and I'm like, you know what? I have this chicken in the fridge and I have these veggies and I have this pasta or rice or whatever, and I'm not in the mood for that, you still have to make it or it's going to go
Yes.
bad. But if you like, you know what? I want to try this new, I don't know, chicken pot pie or whatever, but I haven't made it before. You can freeze it, and when you're in the mood for it, take it out, thaw it, and prepare it so it can
Yes.
last longer too without
Yes.
going bad.
And most of them last about 3 months, is what they say, but I think you can, go a little bit longer. Another really great aspect of the freezer meals, besides just the food lasting longer, is you really do regain a ton of time. So we've calculated because it does take a full afternoon. It does take about 4 hours to get these meals done and prepped. But if I calculate, it normally takes me 30 minutes to an hour to make, 18 meals, and I can get it done in 4 hours. That's a huge time savings.
Let me in. Well, and I agree. Like for me, especially if you're a working parent, you don't want to come home and you're exhausted from the
Yeah.
day and spend another hour cooking and you cross your fingers that your family will eat it and like it. But if I prep it in advance, or if you're doing, hey family, what do we want to try? Or we're going to eat something new, or what do we like? And we're just going to have that on rotation once a week. It is amazing how much
Yes.
time, and it sounds like money can be saved
Yes.
in this. It just a little bit of investment up front.
Well, and if you think about it, it's like I usually spend anywhere from $200 to $300 a week on groceries, and so it's like if on average, and if I can do again 3 weeks worth of meals for $350, again, huge savings
Huge savings. And you still may need to make, grocery runs for other
for
things,
produce and stuff.
whatever.
Yeah.
But, dinner time is taken care of one afternoon a month.
Yes.
Sign me up. I will continue until she invites me to this party.
We'll just put it on the calendar. Another thing to think about if you do decide to do freezer meals is so it is like taking plastic bags. There might be an initial investment as far as getting the holders that hold up the plastic bags, because that does make it so much easier. You'll want to print out. I usually get the recipes, print them out, tape it to the front of the bag, so that way all the information's right there. You're not having to go back and find
Remember
anything.
what's in the
You
bag.
just grab it. And there's all different kinds of recipes. So some of them are crock pot, and you put them in, and they cook all day while you're at work. Some are Instapot recipes, some are sheet pan recipes, some are soups. You can just pop in. So you can really nowadays find something to meet your lifestyle needs and how much time you have. So that was also a game changer for me, because I'm like, I don't want crock pot meals every night.
No.
And then it's like, is it going to be mushy and or just be like a casserole every night? And it hasn't. We've found some really good recipes. The other thing is there's different schools of thought, but we put everything in raw. So some people are like, you want to cook the meat and then freeze it. It might make it a little bit faster to cook on the end side, but I just throw it all in raw because that's what's easy for me, and then freeze it, and then it's ready to go. Something else that's worked out really well. So again, we make this. My mom makes a batch, I make a batch, and then we have been making one for my sister as well. But you could do it for someone who has recently moved and is struggling to make meals, or someone who just had a baby, or someone just in a life transition. That's a really great way to help out someone else, and it's a really low cost. compared to like, a gift card to have them go out for
And
one meal.
and if you're in a place where you're recovering from an illness or a
Yes.
new mom, like a meal
Surgery.
means
Yep.
so much more than, a gift card or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and think of like if you got them a $50 gift card, which might feed two people, or you could give them three meals that would feed four people each meal, so 12 total. So
Give me the meals.
again, let
No.
me
Sign me
yes,
up.
I know.
So also, I will say when I was a new mom, I had a few friends come and bring me food, and they, it was like it meant the world to me. It meant the world, and so I can see how you're prepping meals, and maybe you don't want three of the same meal. You want to try
Yeah.
something new. You can get in with a friend, or have a family member, and then you can save together and
Yes.
spend time together. And I have come over when they're having their party, and the kids are involved, which is really great.
Yes.
The kids can chop some things or help with measuring. And so again, those life skills that we talked about with the family.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to bring up next is we usually assign someone a different task. So one person will be on meat duty and they'll be cutting up all the meat. One person will be chopping veggies, and usually the kids are measuring out the spices and the seasonings, and they'll put it into one like little glass container and then dump it all in at once. So yeah, it's been fun to get them involved as well. But put on some music and have fun
I was
with
about
it.
to say, yeah, this is like a meal prep party. I think it'd be
Yes.
fun.
Yeah, for sure. And then the other thing I would suggest, there's different schools of thought. Like some people say to lay them flat, so that way you can kind of stack them in like books. And that works if you're going to be thawing the night before and then putting it into the crock pot. If there's a recipe where it goes straight from freezer to crock pot, a big square sheet does not fit into the crock pot easily. So in those cases, then I'll tend to just make it more of a cube and roll up the plastic bag so it will fit into the crock pot.
Love it.
So just little tips of learned. But again, I was really hesitant from freezer meals just because there is some preparation involved as far as pulling it out to thaw it or getting the crock pot ready. But it really has saved a ton of time in the evenings. And then I don't have to think about what to make either, right? That decision fatigue for me is so real. Even like going out to restaurants, it's like, what do you want? I'm like, I don't care. I can find something anywhere. Just make the decision. So
Yeah.
this is really nice just to pull it and go.
Well, and I will say, if you're a young adult trying to figure out, how to cook or easy ways to cook things, if you're a busy parent or if you're, just a single person and you're like, I just want to have one meal at home and I want to like have it ready, I think this is a great way for any life stage to be able to like learn something new, have some good life skills, but also make your finances and your time worth
Yes.
worth it. So you're not spending 3 hours a week cooking. It's just, one afternoon, and you have all your meals ready, which is amazing.
And what we do for my mom, because she lives by herself, is her portion is usually a little bit smaller, where you can break it down into 2 bags or 3 bags. And that way she's not thawing the whole thing and then having to eat it for 3 meals that week, right? She can spread it out a little bit more. So she can actually make, 30 meals out of the 18. So
If you are an individual
yes.
taking care of yourself, you can have 30 meals.
So
Sign me up. I mean, I have a family to feed, but still, sounds like something I want to try.
we'll have to do a social media post and show you Courtney is in the party, so that way she doesn't feel left
Proof.
out. Proof.
I want proof.
Well, if you have tried freezer meals before, or if there's a great brand you like or great recipe, or if you've tried it and you're like, this isn't for me, but I've done this other thing, please share it in the comments below because someone's looking for meal planning and meal prep and time savings. So share this with someone that you think needs it, like and subscribe, and let us know your thoughts.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.